Welcome back to Out of My Mind. My name is Robinson Wells. Today I want to talk about hallucinations and delusions. Um, Not too long ago, I had to leave my psychiatrist of many years. He had taken a position at the Veterans Hospital, and I obviously was not able to go and follow him to that hospital and be treated by him anymore. So I had to find a new psychiatrist. I had been with my previous psychiatrist for 5 or 6 years. He knew everything about me. We had a very comfortable relationship, and I was not excited about going to see a new guy. But I went and saw a new guy. Before I got there, he had read my medical records, and he had some ideas, and he asked me a lot of questions. The doctor's appointment lasted for an hour and a half, whereas a normal psychiatrist visit is generally 15 minutes or 30 minutes at the most. He spent an hour and a half going through all of my history, and finally he opened up the DSM-5, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, which is the book that diagnoses and gives the diagnosing criteria for each medical condition. He opened the book up and he went line by line through obsessive compulsive disorder, and he said, "You absolutely are a textbook case of OCD." But then he flipped some pages and he said, "OCD doesn't account for your hallucinations, and OCD doesn't account for your delusions." And he went through schizophrenia line by line. He said, "You have schizophrenia." He said, "Now don't freak out." He said, "There's a lot of stigma around schizophrenia, and I don't want you to be bothered by the stigma." He said, "You are exactly the same person right now that you were 2 hours ago, before someone had said that you were schizophrenic." And we'll get into schizophrenia in depth in a later episode. But what I want to talk about today are the hallucinations and the delusions, and kind of what the differences are between the two of them. Basically speaking, a hallucination is something that you see that isn't there, whereas a delusion is an idea you have that isn't true. So, I have 3 hallucinations. I will very occasionally get more hallucinations that will only last one time, and they're very rare. In fact, I can only think of a couple that have ever happened. But I have 3 recurring hallucinations. 2 of them are auditory. The first one is that my service dog, Annie, will talk to me. It is used to be very unsettling. Now I'm used to it, although I still don't like it, and it makes me a little uneasy. But she will say my name and try to get me to turn around and look at me. The second hallucination is that I hear a Dave Matthews Band song playing all the time. It is typical situation, and I hear it over and over and over and over and over. It is always playing in the background. My third hallucination, which is visual, is that I see a 1920s era flapper. It is weird though, because I don't see her. I know what she is. I know that she is a flapper. I know that she is wearing a flapper dress, and she's wearing a flapper headband. And I know that both the dress and the headband are covered in mother of pearl sequins. And that is what I see, is in the periphery of my vision. I will see the sparkle of those sequins. They are kind of a bluish pink. If you're familiar at all with mother of pearl, that is the color of them, and they shimmer. And in my brain, I know everything about that flapper, but I don't see anything other than the shimmer of the sequins. But I see them all the time. Uh, so anyway, those are hallucinations. Those are things that I see that aren't real. Moving on to things that are delusions. I have the delusion that people are following me. This used to be bad, but working on it with my doctor, doing cognitive behavioral therapy, I was able to kind of get rid of that one. It used to be that I would see cars in my review window and I would think that they were following me, so I would take a side street to see if they would follow me, and they wouldn't, but a different car would, and I'm like, oh, they've passed me off to another car, because I've seen a lot of spy movies and I know how this works. They've passed me off to another car, and then I would take another side street and they wouldn't follow me, or sometimes they would, and then then I was nuts. Um, that's a delusion, and that's one that I've had to deal with a lot. I've had the delusion that someone. I live at the base of a mountain, and for a long time my desk faced the window, and I would look out at the mountain, and I would know that there was someone on the mountain with binoculars looking down and seeing me and watching me. Um, so again, that gets into this kind of paranoid territory that used to be called paranoid schizophrenic, which is no longer called paranoid schizophrenic. And then I have just stupid delusions, and I'm not going to go through the whole list of delusions that I've got, um, because it's a long list and a lot of them are stupid. But the big ones are I am kind of paranoid about the moon. I don't like the moon. I feel that the moon is always up to something. I don't like the fact that it goes through phases. I don't like the fact that it has, I can't remember the term now, but that it has that stationary orbit so that we always see the same side of it. I don't like that at all. So, I'm a crazy person. Uh, and then lastly, the last big delusion that I have is of, if you are from the East, I don't think that these things exist for you. But in the West, uh, schools will put up a letter on the mountain that is uh, the letter of the school. So, where I got my undergrad degree, University of Utah, they have a giant cement U up on the mountain, and it has lights on it, so that on game days they can turn on the lights, and if they win, then they will blink the lights. But it is a giant U that anywhere in the valley you can see this 60-foot tall U. If you are in Utah County, where I got my master's at BYU, they have a big Y that I haven't hiked up there, although everybody hikes up there. But my understanding is that it is rock that is painted white, and you can see this Y from anywhere. The one that I am most annoyed by is there is a V for Viewmont, Viewmont High School, and that is around the Kaysville area. And I do not like that V, and I do not like that it watches me while I drive past it. Um, so these are my delusions, and that is kind of the it's not the end all be all of hallucinations and delusions, but those are the things that I face. And we'll get more into schizophrenia, and we'll get more into the reason that these hallucinations and delusions exist. We'll get into um, the cause of hallucinations and delusions. But for now, thank you for listening. Um, and please subscribe if you haven't subscribe over here, and leave me likes over here, and I look forward to seeing you later this week. I'm so excited about this project that I'm thinking I might go to 3 times a week instead of 2 times a week, but we'll see. I don't want to run out of things to say, but there appears to be a whole lot of things to talk about. So, thank you for listening. I love you. Bye.